Thanks to everybody who's jumping in with us today. Today we're going to be going through contacts. So if you don't know, command can serve as your entire database. You can put everybody that you know or talk to at a grocery store into command, and then that's a great jumping off point for communication and touches throughout your time in real estate. So what we want to do today is just run through contacts and all the different things that you can do within that applet in command. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to either me or Jess, and we're more than happy to help. So with that, let's jump in. Okay, so to get to contacts, the first thing you want to do is go ahead and go to this first widget on the left-hand side. And when you click on that, if you haven't used contacts before, this is going to look really blank. For me, I haven't used contacts a whole lot myself. So you'll see I only have 2 contacts in there. It's me and our team leader, Ray. So I guess I could be using this a little bit more too. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is start getting your contacts into command. And there are 2 ways that you can go about doing this. The first thing you could do is you can import a massive list of contacts directly into command, or you can add them manually one by one. Obviously, the second one, if you have a lot of contacts, is going to take a lot more time and probably wouldn't recommend that. But if you just have somebody really quick that you can add, adding them manually will work just fine. So to start, I'm going to go by manually adding, and then I'll show you how to import in a second. So what you're going to want to do is go right up to add a contact, and then you're going to start adding in all their information. So I'm going to say Mr. Joe Schmo. We went to college together, we worked on the paper, and we're going to do joe@fff.com. Funny story, my sisters and I, growing up, fff.com was what we used whenever it was like, register with an email to gain access, because we didn't want those spams. So fff@fff.com is my email. Sorry if that's anybody's. And then we're just going to do a phone number. We're going to do straight 8s. So one thing, you do have to have some form of contact information in this contact card. You can't just have a name. And it's really important that you flesh it out as much as you possibly can, because the more information that you have in the contact, the more functionality that you're going to have. So from here, you can identify what lead source you have. So you can either pick it from a list or select it from your contacts. I always just leave this as select from a list, and then I can kind of pick from down here where it came from. But that's personal preference. From there, you can either mark this person as a lead, say you met them in the grocery store and they're like, oh, wow, you're a realtor. I really want to sell my home in the next 3 months. You can go ahead and mark them as a lead, and this would signify that they're a hot lead in your database. It'll give them a special symbol, and it'll go from there. Personally, Joe Schmo, he's not looking to do anything too soon, so we're going to leave him as is right now. And then you can add custom tags. So if you click on this dropdown, you'll notice that KW has a bunch of tags already built out in command. So if this person fits in, say they're an agent, you can mark them as a KW agent. If they're your referral partner, you can put that in as well. All of that is already built out in command, and you'll see it if you haven't created any contacts. You can also create custom tags. So say I'm going to do college. So all my college friends are going to have that same tag. I would then type that in and then say create custom tag. Click on that plus button, and then you can pick what color. My favorite color is yellow, so I'm going to pick yellow, and I'm going to say add. So now you'll see there's that little yellow banner. I can add as many or as few contact tags as I'd like, but best practice really is to add at least 3, I would say, to that contact if you have 3 to apply. That way you can get a little bit more granular with your communication that you're sending out, and it just helps you to organize your database a little bit more. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to go to where it says add more information. And then we're going to add some additional contact information. From here, you can add in additional phone numbers and emails if you have them. By no means do you have to. But a big thing that you can do is add a street address. So this is going to be very helpful if you're sending out mailers and needing that contact information for that. But it's also helpful because you can target marketing to that person based off of the address that you have in their contact card, either through a neighborhood nurture or other forms of smart plans. We're going to be going into that next week, so definitely stay tuned and make sure you add as many addresses as you can. All right, so Joe Schmo lives at 123 Main Street, and that's in Vista, California. So I'm just going to click on that. And then if I need to add any further information about that address, I can add that there. I can also add additional addresses, but for right now, I'm just going to leave it at 123 Main Street. Then we can add all their different social profiles. So if you want to make sure that you're friends with them on Facebook and following up with them on Instagram, you can add all of these here. There are a lot of different options that you can choose from. Personally, Joe Schmo, he's a very personal guy, so he doesn't really have social media, so we're just going to leave that alone. From here, we can add even more information. We can add a legal name. We can add birthdays, home anniversaries, things like that. Again, the more information you can add to this contact, the better. So I'm going to go ahead and put in Joe Schmo's birthday. He's a New Year's baby. He was born on January 1st in the wonderful year of 1980. Okay. So once I add that in, again, this will allow me to access that information for different marketing options. So say I wanted to send him an email and a text message on his birthday. Command now knows when his birthday is, and should I enable a smart plan that'll notify me, I'll be sure to reach out to him on his birthday, and all that information's there to make my life a little bit easier. Now, if we go to the home anniversary, that's going to be the time that they moved into their house. If you know this information, great. Usually it would come after you work with a buyer and they just moved into their new home. So he moved in on February 2nd in 2017. He recently bought a house, but he's looking to sell now. His home anniversary is coming up on about 5 years here in a couple months. So maybe it's time to make a move. Now, if we had a relationship that we could list for Joe Schmo, we could add parents, brothers, siblings, spouses, all of that. Again, it just adds more information if you know it. But for right now, we're just going to leave that as is. And again, you can add as many as you need there. And lastly, you can add their work. So say he works at Bing, because why not? And I don't really know his title. I just know he works at Bing. So again, that'll add more information that I can follow up with when I give him a call. All that information's already there. So I'm going to leave that there. And then I could add custom fields if I'd like. So if I click on this add custom field button, you'll be able to create a couple things that's personal to you. So if I wanted to say, put in, how do I know I'm at USD, and kind of designate what that person did, I could do that. Again, really, this is just for you because everybody's database is a little bit different. If there's something that's not on this contact field that you really want to have in your database, this is the place that you would add that. So once I'm done with all of this and it looks exactly the way I want it to, I'm going to go ahead and say create. And so what that would do is it puts him immediately into my database. Notice it's already alphabetizing a little bit. That tag that I put on is there. And then it puts in the phone number and the contact information just right out of the gate so I can see what information I have on Joe Schmo. So if I go ahead and click into Joe's contact card, it'll pop up with a whole bunch of information. Notice everything I just inputted is right here, including this little map based off of his street address. So remember we put in that 123 Main Street that was in Vista, California? Well, now it pops up as a primary neighborhood for Joe Schmo. It'll tell me exactly which neighborhood in Vista he lives in, down to just a couple blocks and a couple homes. And what this will allow you to do is to get really granular with targeting marketing about his home to Joe Schmo. So At this time, you could add another neighborhood. Say Joe's really looking to buy and he wants to look in the Pacific Beach area. You could add that as well. So whatever information about neighborhoods that you want to add, you can add that there. And again, if we scroll down, you'll see the other information that we put in, the home address, the mailing address. It just copied the street address over, birthday, home anniversary, and where he works. So all that information that we put in is now visible to you in this contact card. So if I scroll up on this right-hand side here, you'll notice there are a couple different options. So before we get into that, I want to show you the other option for uploading contacts. Not going to go too far into it, but just a brief, here's how you do it. If you click on this import button, it has the little down arrow up in the top right corner. Click on that and it'll give you the option to drag and drop a file into Command. The thing that you need to be very aware of though is that you have to have the CSV format for the KW system. Go ahead and click on that. Command will only upload contacts that are in this exact format at this time. So Jess, can you see this or is it still showing Command?
It's still showing Command.
Okay, no worries. So I'm going to stop sharing real quick and then reshare. So here's what the download looks like. It's going to pop up as this spreadsheet, and you'll notice it has the different fields that you could input when you manually input contacts. The only thing that you really have to be careful of is that this format needs to be exactly the same as you downloaded it. It needs to be the same when you import it. So for example, if I delete out this column because I don't have anybody's middle names, if I do that, this spreadsheet now will not work. It's best that if you don't have a field to put that information in, just leave it blank. Leave the column alone, don't touch it. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So I'm just going to undo what I just did and bring it back to this spreadsheet. So say you exported your contacts, say from Google Contacts, and you have that all already in a CSV file. What you would want to do is copy and paste all of the field data into these different fields here. So say I had Joe Schmo, I would copy Joe's name right here, Joe, Schmo, don't have a prefix, don't have a suffix, leave those alone. Then I would put in his birthday here, his home anniversary date here. Again, you want to make this as clean as possible without deleting out columns, otherwise it's not going to work. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing real quick. So say you have all that filled out and you're ready to go. Then you're just going to go back to this page on Command where you downloaded it. Click on this drag and drop button. You can click on it to browse, or if you have the file readily available on your monitor, you can just drag it into this window. And what that'll do is it'll trigger Command to take the file, process it, make sure there are no errors, and then pull all that information and put it into your database as if you had manually imported all of them. Again, this will only work if you have that spreadsheet and you have it formatted the way that it's intended to. Okay, so I'm going to back out of here because I don't have a file to upload for you guys, but it would say submitted. You would refresh the page and then boom, all your contacts are there. And it looks really nice. So let's go back into this contact card so we can look a little bit deeper as to what that looks like. So again, remember all the information's on this side. The part that I want to focus on now is this side right here. So the really cool thing about contacts is you can keep track of every activity with this contact from this page. So the first thing that you're going to see here is this timeline. And what it's going to show you is all the activity for Joe Schmo that you've done through Command. So any subscribing to a neighborhood, if they joined your app, if you started an opportunity, if you added them to a smart plan, all of that will pop up here, as well as homes that they look at on your app and website if they've subscribed. This is a huge tool for you, really just to see how often you're touching that member of your database. And it's a great way for you to keep track of where you're at with that relationship. The next tab over is going to be this Opportunities tab. So if you click on this, this will show any opportunities that are assigned to that particular contact. So if you're not familiar with an opportunity, it's basically a transaction. But you can also look at it as tracking your relationship in the process of either buying or selling a home with that individual. So again, say I talked to Joe Schmo in the grocery store and he wants to sell his home in the next 3 months. What I would do is I would create an opportunity for him as we start the process of getting a listing agreement signed, looking ahead to what does pre-listing look like. We'll go into that in a different tech class. Opportunities is a huge tool that Command has, and there's not enough time for me to go into everything it can do. So definitely stay tuned for that. But if I wanted to create an opportunity for him, all I would need to do is just hit this plus create opportunity button, fill out all the information about Joe and him wanting to sell his home, and then hit create, and that would automatically add him to my opportunities pipeline. Again, more on that later, but that's a feature that you can do within contacts. Next is going to be smart plans. So like I mentioned, we are going to have a class on smart plans next week, so tune in. But if I want to add Joe Schmo to a smart plan, all I would need to do is hit this add smart plan button. Or if there's already smart plans here, this won't pop up, but I could hit this plus button and add any smart plan that I already have in my command to Joe Schmo. Stay tuned for more about smart plans, but all you would do is hit add to smart plan, pick the smart plan that you want to see. I know his birthday's coming up, so I'm going to hit that. It's going to show me all the different steps that that smart plan is going to do for me. And then I'm going to hit confirm, and boom, Joe Schmo is good to go, and he's starting on that birthday smart plan. Awesome. Let's move on to tasks. If we go here, this is going to show me all of my to-do list items that I have for Joe Schmo. Again, very specific to him. It's only this contact's tasks. Anything that a smart plan creates for me or that I've created in the past will show up here automatically. But because I don't have anything right now, I'm going to create a manual task. What I would do is hit this create task button. Again, fill out all the information. If I want it to be a call task, I can mark that and it will give me his phone number. It's really nice. And then I can add any notes about, hey, talk to Joe about his birthday or what he wants when he's selling his home, blah, 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 blah. Anything that you need to talk about, put in that description there. If you need a link, you can add it. And then really cool feature, you can add how much of a priority this is. So if you have a day that you have a lot of calls going on, is calling Joe Schmo at the top of your to-do list? If so, I would put him as high. If it's like, it could happen in the next 4 days, maybe mark him as medium or low priority. I'm going to mark this as a high priority task, and I'm going to set it due in 2 days. So all you need to do, choose the date that you want, adjust the time, apply it, and it'll pop up here. Once you're ready and it looks good, hit create task, and it'll pop up right here. What this will also do is it'll add it to our tasks widget over on the left-hand side. Any tasks that you create within contacts will also feed over into that tasks widget and onto your homepage, just so you can keep track of everything that's going on in your business. Last, we have notes. So say you're making phone calls and you're making sure that everything that you just talked about is going to be in your database. This is going to be a good place for you to add it. So this will add notes that you can refer back to, or you can see on your timeline as your most recent conversations. Again, all you have to do is hit this little plus button, add a title of the note, call on, I'm going to say I call him on December 1st, and then just talk about what you talked about. Joe Schmo, home, sell, soon. I hit save, and you'll notice it's here. And if I go to my timeline, you'll see that as well. Notice my timeline is updating as I continue to add things to this contact. So I added him to a smart plan. I made a new note. All of that is popping up as I continue to do it. Okay. And lastly, one really cool feature that I personally love about the contacts widget is this opportunity for save searches. So this is something that's very unique in that it links this contact directly to your app. So if you haven't watched the video that we made recently on how to use your KW website and your KW app, definitely refer back to that one. I'm going to include a little card right here. So check it out. But what this will do is you can create a search specific to that person. So say Joe Schmo is looking to buy in Pacific Beach and he wants a 2-bedroom in a certain price range. What I can do is I can tailor my app and website so that if he has a profile, he will see a search from me specific to him only when he's using my website. Any other contact isn't going to see it. That's only for Joe Schmo. And you can create as many of these as you need. But again, all you have to do is hit this create button and fill in all the field data. So I'm going to go ahead and say search by neighborhood and type in Pacific Beach. Now, the thing about this is all the different neighborhoods within Command have very specific names, and you might not know them. Like I just typed in Pacific Beach thinking that would be it. It wasn't it. So really nice feature. You can go ahead and click Find on Map. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and scroll in over near, it's a little too high, over near Pacific Beach. So notice all these green lines are individual neighborhoods. Command is linked to Nextdoor, which gives them very specific neighborhood data. It also breaks down, like I said, those neighborhoods into just a couple houses apart, very specific. So say they want to be really close to the water on Mission Boulevard, where all those vacation homes are. If you go ahead and click on this little green box right here, it'll add a check mark, and that Save Search will then include that neighborhood. But Pacific Beach isn't that big. I want to make sure that I add as many as possible. So I'm just going to click all the little green boxes in this area. Okay. Ooh, my thing's frozen a little bit. So I think that looks pretty good. So notice I just got Kate Sessions, I got Bird Rock, everything in that little area. And why not Mission Beach for a little good measure? Why not? So from there, I can go down and I can add price points. I can add different keywords and key features of homes that they're looking for. I can add number of bedrooms, bathrooms, listing status, everything that's here, I can designate if that's what my client wants. So I don't really want to add anything. I just want to show them what all's available because it's such a small neighborhood. If I get too granular, nothing's going to pop up. So I'm going to go ahead and say next. And the last thing I need to do is give it a name. So I'm going to say test, just so I can show you guys what it's going to look like. You could also name Pacific Beach, Joe Schmo, whatever. Then you can add an option to give them an email notification. So if they have an email and you toggle on this send email notifications, it'll give them summaries about the properties available within that Save Search. So if you notice, the email frequency pops up. So you could say, hey, instantaneously, as soon as there's a new home on the map, send Joe Schmo an email about it because he's that ready to buy in PB. If you want it a little bit less frequent, because let's be honest, instant might be a lot of emails, who knows? You can choose one of the different options, be it daily, weekly, monthly, all of that, just depending on the needs of your client. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this Create Save Search. I'm good with the weekly summary. And then notice it pops up right here. So if Joe Schmo was registered with my personal app or website, what would happen then is if he goes to my website and goes to search for homes like you would on any Zillow or Redfin, instead of just, hey, whatever you want, it'll pop up. One of the first items that pops up is a little save banner. And it'll have the name Test or Pacific Beach, whatever you named it. And if they click on that, it'll show them only homes that meet that criteria that you just distinguished in this Save Search. And really, it's that cool. It's only for Joe Schmo. And that's it. You can delete them or edit them as you need. You can also add more. But this is a really cool feature if you're working with clients who are actively looking, and it's a good way to get people using your app. One feature about the Save Searches and your app that will also show up here in this contact card is if you click on the timeline feature. Notice I just created a Save Search for them. If they started looking at homes on my website or on my app, anything that they look at will show up here. It'll give you property information. Say they looked at 142 Main Street. 142 Main Street will pop up right here with a link to view the property on your KW website So that way you know what they're looking at, and it gives you more information about what they're interested in. So really cool feature. Again, if you aren't familiar with your website and app, you don't have it set up, check out our other video. It's a really great tool that a lot of agents don't utilize to the fullest. All right, and that's really it for the contact card. All of this you can edit and customize further as you're working with that client, but really, that's it. So any questions?
That was a great overview. Can we go over some of the features that are currently on the contact list portion?
Contact list, yes. So you mean like the different filters and views and things like that?
Yeah, so let's say like I really want to view the address in this view. Like I want to make sure that all of my contacts have a specific address and make sure that I'm filling that in. Is there a way to change that?
Yeah, so if I go over here to this customize columns button, I can dictate what pops up on this main page. So right now I have all these recently active. I'm going to get rid of that. Last contacted, I personally think that's important, so I'm going to leave it. Stage, that's if you have opportunities running. So that'll refer back to that opportunities tab. And if somebody's in the cultivate stage, you could say, hey, I want to make sure that I know exactly where I'm at. So if I need to do any tasks, it'll all be there. So primary phone number, good. Email, good. Last updated. I don't really update my contacts a lot, but I should. I'm just going to get rid of that one for now. And then I'm going to scroll down, and there are a bunch of different options that I can see. So just like you asked, you can click on their primary address, and that'll pop up. You can also filter and change around the view. So say you really want that address up front, you can move that straight to the front, and it'll pop up right here as soon as I hit apply. Again, don't really want their company or title because I don't know a ton of them. Date of birth, I could do that as well. But for right now, this looks good. If I was on a team, the owner and assignee tabs are much more important. But for me as an individual non-agent, I'm going to click those off and hit apply. And then notice all the edits that we just made. Primary address is here. Bam! Is that cool? So
that's amazing.
That. And here, what you can do, you can also filter out what you want to see. So say I want a specific tag only showing up in my database for the time being. I could click on that tag and hit apply. It'll only show me the things that I filtered for. So that's a really cool way that if you're looking for a very specific thing, you can see those very quickly without having to dig and dig and dig, especially if you have thousands of contacts. It's a waste of time, especially if you can just use a filter. Again, lots of different options that you can filter by. You can get really specific with it. So definitely use that. And I think if you need to search, you can search here. And then Smart View, I'm not familiar with Smart View. That's the one that Keller Williams gives you different features that you can search for, right? I think if I click upcoming home anniversary. Okay, cool. Got it. So yeah, Smart Views. It's stuff that Keller Williams thinks that you could search by, and it'll pull that information for you automatically. Again, if I click on upcoming birthdays, it'll show me ones that are coming up very soon. Joe Schmo, his isn't coming up anytime soon. Ray's contact doesn't have a birthday, and my birthday's not till March. So it's not going to show me anything, but if I say leads never contacted, oh, look at that. I have contacted them. Oh, I don't have any leads. Yep. So there we go.
Awesome.
Yay. Clear. Turn it off.
Yeah, no, those smart views are super informative as far as who you should be contacting for the month and then if not the week as well. So
yeah. I think that's it. Anything else?
I think you covered most of it. So thank you, Amy, for showing us how to really get our contact section up to speed, especially with the new year coming up. It's time for that database.
Yeah. And for some big things coming up, you're going to need contacts for your smart plans. You're going to need contacts for your opportunities. And it's good to start just communicating right from the gate. So the more people that you can get into your database, the better. I personally would like to challenge anybody who watches this. If you're using Command, try to get at least 100 contacts before the end of the year. If you're already at or past 100, try and get to the next milestone, be it 500 or 1,000. Maybe you have to do some lead generating. I don't know.
It's probably a good thing at this time of year, don't you think?
I know.
People are with their friends and families, the most important people. So this is it's the time, you guys.
This is it. So as always, if you have any questions about anything that we covered today, definitely reach out to Jess and I, and we're more than happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, happy December.